Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. These 11 U.S. government scientists that have now gone missing or have been killed, to me, should be one of the biggest stories the media is covering, but they're not covering it. Conservative outlets are. The mainstream media isn't. We've got 11 scientists studying UFO phenomenon, physics and anti-gravity phenomenon, working with NASA, nuclear scientists. All of them, under very strange circumstances, have either disappeared, died, or had accidents, including suicides, that to me don't really look like accidents or suicides. And the disappearances are very, very odd. So what's at play here? We've got 11 scientists going back to 2022 to the beginning of this year, and it's unexplained. And there doesn't appear to be any widespread investigation into the relationship between all of these disappearances and deaths. Now, I'm not going to call it a coincidence because, as I tell you, in Washington, there are no such things as coincidences. So we're going to go through today who's missing, who died, what was behind them, why this is fishy, who would the suspects be, what are some possible theories behind all this. Everything from the wild one that I love is that aliens, since they were studying aliens, the aliens came down and either killed them or took them. That I'm ruling out. I don't believe that. You know me, I'm open to many things. That one I'm not. But here's what I am open to. Bad actors, foreign governments that want information from them, important, top secret information. And the other bad actors could be deep state, military, industrial complex that knows that these scientists knew too much, were ready to talk, were ready to expose what they were working on, and they needed to be eliminated. It may be a combination of those things. It may be that they're all not connected in one way, but there's two separate crimes happening, the foreign entity and then, of course, the deep state aspect to all of this. So we'll talk about this on the program today. Before we do, though, I want to tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. 972-PATRIOT is the number to call. This is a conservative activist organization. It's not just a cell phone company. But I'll tell you this, it's better than any other cell phone company out there. Why? 100% U.S.-based customer service. They have access to all three major networks in the United States, which means when you sign up with them, you can switch those networks around and you don't have to change your cell phone provider. No other company can offer you this. That's why they have a performance guarantee like nobody else's business. 100% U.S.-based customer service, as I mentioned. This is why Patriot Mobile gets it done, and they believe in the things that we believe in. If you use the promo code GRANT, you will get a free month's service. So I would ask you, why are you waiting? You see me pitch them all the time. You know that I have a Patriot Mobile phone. I love it. It's been good to me. I have no issues whatsoever. And I know when I call, my phone call is answered right away if there's ever an issue. Customer service team's great. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. 972-PATRIOT. Switching takes minutes. They'll make you a deal to switch. Use that promo code GRANT. All right, with that, let's get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, so we have 11 U.S. scientists, almost all of them connected to either NASA, the U.S. government some way, the Air Force, working at military bases connected with UFO and UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon studies. You've got anti-gravity studies. You've got extraterrestrial studies. You've got nuclear physicist and aerospace studies. And these 11 scientists, some have been killed, some have gone missing. The way they died is by accident. Some have been murdered. Others have mysterious accidents or even suicide. What is going on here? You'd think we'd have 11 scientists all connected to the same type of study, UFOs, okay, that would just disappear or die. in a 4-year period, basically, because I say 4, we go back to 2022 now. It was late 2023 until we added this Amy Eskridge to the list. She was the one working on anti-gravity. We're going to get into her. I found some videos of her, which are very, very interesting, and I think could tell you where she was in all this. Before we do that, Fox News laid it out. So let's just listen to how they lay out the story.
Either just vanished or disappeared in the last few years. So we hope we'll break this down for you. We put this together. The cases span from July 2023 to now. In some, deaths remain unexplained or lack full public detail. In others, sudden disappearances with few answers. So check out some of these cases. Most recently, retired Air Force General William McCaslin vanished in February. He walked out of his Albuquerque home, leaving behind his phone. Previously, he oversaw some of the Pentagon's most advanced aerospace programs. Then check out this case also in February. Astrophysicist Carl Grillmeyer, who worked closely on NASA missions, was killed outside of his home. Police did arrest a suspect in that case. Then 8 months earlier, U.S. rocket scientist Monica Reza disappeared while hiking in California's Angeles National Forest. Records show she worked on advanced aerospace materials. I spoke to Congressman Eric Burleson, who's calling for an FBI investigation.
Well, these were not ordinary citizens. These are some of the most advanced scientists that are working on some of our most critical nation's secrets. This has all of the hallmarks of a foreign operation. And so this is something that we need to be investigating.
So that is Congressman Burleson. Now, he is a regular fixture on the Real America's Voice show, great conservative, and he says foreign operation. Now, what does he mean by a foreign operation? It would mean that our adversaries / enemies would want the information that these scientists have. Many of them, if they could be kidnapped, taken to a secure location, grilled, maybe ultimately killed, we don't know, held hostage, put to work, who knows? Who would be behind that? Well, you've got China would be one, Russia would be one, Iran would be one. Now, Iran right now would be out of the question with everything that's gone on. But I don't even think Iran had the capabilities to go kidnap these people, get them out of the country, and do this. Maybe they had some capabilities to kill some of these scientists off, but I take Iran out of it. Russia's caught up with the Ukraine war, but Russia works so closely with China. I think Russia could have been working with China, giving them information as to where these scientists may have been, those kinds of things, but ultimately Russia's too caught up. That leaves China. China would be the main suspect to me of those that would have been kidnapping these scientists, and many of them have just absolutely disappeared. So I found this chart of who has been killed or missing. So I'm going to put it up here on the screen, and we will go through it. You can see here that Amy Eskridge is the latest scientist. She's all the way there on the left. She was studying anti-gravity, propulsion type things. She started a research institute with her father, Richard Eskridge, who also happens to be a retired NASA scientist. She was found committed suicide in 2022. She's the latest, though, to join the group that say, hey, maybe Amy is connected to all of this. But as you look through this list here, you got Carl Grillmeyer, David Hicks, Frank Maywald, okay? Those are the next three connected to NASA and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory works on all of this high-end, crazy, like plasma stuff over my head on the things they're coming up with, and many with our stealth fighter jets, all of that coming out of there, working closely with NASA. And then you've got the other one. Now they're dead, those three. You've got Monica Jacinta Reza. That's the one who disappeared while camping. They talked about her in the Fox piece. She also was working for the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, but she had another connection. She had a connection to William Neal McCasland, who is missing. This is the general who went out for a hike, left all his phones behind, left his computers behind, left all his devices behind, just like Monica Reza did. They were connected to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is where a lot of the UFO studies are coming through. So Wright-Patterson studies UFO, anti-gravity, all of these alternate forms of propulsion, including these triangular formations, which was seen on video here. This formation of unidentified flying objects, that is over Wright Air Force Base. That's where the general was working. Now, you're telling me this is some kind of a coincidence? Not a chance. Now, there's another one, which is Jacob Pritchard. Jacob Pritchard, also Wright Air Force Base. He's dead. And then we go down the line. Stephen Garcia was working at the National Security Center. The Kansas City National Security Campus, which was closely working with the Air Force Research Laboratory. That's where the general was working, connected again. So as I'm looking at this chart, you've got Anthony Chavez and Melissa Casillas. Guess where they were working? Los Alamos. That's the nuclear laboratory, Los Alamos National Laboratory. That was connected to the Air Force Research Laboratory where the general was. And then all the way to the right, you have Nuno Loria, who was working at MIT and also for the Department of Energy on nuclear secrets. So when I tell you here that this is connected beyond a shadow of a doubt, there's no way this is a coincidence. As I say, there is no such thing as coincidences, not in Washington, D.C., not in government like this. Too many pieces tied together. I mean, you'd have to tell me, one, yes, I know scientists can die. Yes, I know scientists can commit suicide. Yes, I know scientists, like anybody else, can go missing. What can't happen is 11 scientists in a short period of time all have those things happen, all working on the same types of study, and go disappearing in that short period of time. That, my friends, doesn't make any sense at all. So we're going to continue to talk about this. Well, here's the thing. We need an investigation. I can't believe there hasn't been an investigation yet. President Trump said this about that.
There are these 10 missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, aerospace. They've all gone missing or turned up dead in the last couple months. Based on what you've been briefed, what do you think is happening here? And do you think that this is connected or totally random?
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff. But we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it. But some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it.
Well, let me tell you something, Mr. President. There's no way this is a coincidence. He knows that, but he's got to play it down in case it's for an adversary, or even worse than a foreign adversary, because I expect it from China. God forbid it's the deep state here. God forbid it's the military-industrial complex. They have these scientists who all claim that they felt threatened along the way. Some said that they were feeling like they were being followed along the way. What did they know? What were they prepared to come forward with? This Amy Eskridge, who allegedly committed suicide in 2022, that started this scientific institute with her father, she left the government. She was studying anti-gravity. You know what that would change? The amount of money that would be involved if you figured out how to defy gravity. And then, lo and behold, she commits suicide. So the president's probably downplaying it here, but it is interesting. He said, I just came out of a meeting about that. Kash Patel better be on this. Let's just say that. Hey, folks, let me tell you about my friends over at the wellness company, twc.health/Grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. These prescription medication kits are so important. Every family, upside down, every family should have one of these. Ivermectin is in here, but you've got amoxicillin in here. You've got a whole slew of different antibiotics in here that are perfect to take care of things that you may encounter. And God forbid you can't get to the drugstore. Maybe it's a snowstorm or a big storm. It's closed. Maybe there's power outages. You need prescription medications on hand. And don't forget, I don't show it a lot, but there's the Field Kit. This has an EpiPen in it as well, and I think every family should have an EpiPen in their household. So that's what you can get from the Wellness Company. And then, folks, just a slew of wellness products from Methylene Blue, the best you'll find in America. This Mars product, which is a testosterone booster. There's TheraBlue, which is a pain medication cream. And I show you all these because I want you just to go to the website, peruse it, and there's going to be something there that's going to help you. That I promise you. twc.health/Grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off, and you're going to love the Wellness Company. No doubt about it. Okay. So it's interesting. Only conservative outlets seem to be talking about this. Fox News has been only just now starting to talk about it. Joe Rogan's been talking about it. You've got us at Real America's Voice. I don't know of any other shows have been doing it. We've done it on Stinchfield for sure. This was Joe Rogan laying out how he sees it.
People have to understand, like, this missing scientist thing, it sounds a little conspiratorial thing. It sounds like a little silly, a little tinfoil hatty.
It does.
Until you start thinking about the amount of money that would be lost if a breakthrough tech came around that revolutionized the way they distribute energy.
Right.
Breakthrough, 0-point energy, breakthrough, whatever that is that these people are working on, plasma technology, whatever the fuck that is. You would lose if you're in whatever business that would be competing with them. You're going to lose so much fucking money. You're probably going to go under. If you're in the energy business, you're going to or he goes away.
Yeah, but think of the other side of it. Yes, if you're in the energy business, you're going to lose a lot of money with some breakthrough technology, or you're in the jet propulsion business and jet propulsion's no longer great anymore. You could freaking time travel or whatever. I mean, literally physics talks about time travel, okay? Now, I don't actually buy into it, but Amy Eskridge, who was working on anti-gravity technology, does talk about it. I'm going to play some of that for you in a minute. But what about the money that could be made, or the national security that this could provide? That's why you would kidnap them. Now, for what Joe's saying, that's why you may kill them. Or they were getting ready to release it to someone that shouldn't have it.
Right. And he goes away, and there's like him and maybe a few other people that work with him that understand that shit at all.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all wandering through the back rooms now. They're gone.
They're all scared. They're all going to scatter like roaches.
Yeah.
Because their life is in danger, and it is. Like, this is theoretically, right? I mean, it could be just a coincidence that all these people get.
It's how could it be? Could you pull up?
It's not possible.
Can you pull up a story on it? Because Jamie, I'm sorry, but it's two people from the same fucking lab.
Yep.
Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten to the point that like it has hit the mainstream news. Like people are talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's her name? Nancy Guthrie disappears.
Is that related though?
No, but I'm just saying, this one woman vanishes.
Yeah. It gets all this attention.
And it gets all the press.
Right,
but we've got
right.
scientists, like two scientists from the same lab disappear. Crickets.
Yep.
No, like
weird.
Weird,
yeah.
Dude.
Real weird.
And what you're talking about is, if you think about it, it seems like all of human endeavor right now should be moving in the direction of getting off oil. I don't mean for carbon emissions. I mean, because of this fucking oil problem that we have, we're like on the precipice of World War III.
All right. So I don't know who that guy is, but he is right, and he makes a great point. Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's mom, goes missing. The media covers it until the end of time. And okay, fine. And people are interested in it, and I wish they would find her. I don't think they're ever going to find Nancy Guthrie. But 11 scientists go missing, and they don't cover anything. He said 2 of them from the same lab. Look, I'll put this back up here. It's not 2 of them from the same lab. All 11 are connected going all the way back to basically the Air Force. Okay? Now, from the same lab, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. You've got 3 to the Air Force Research Laboratory. And you've got 2 at Los Alamos National Laboratory that's then connected back to the Air Force Research. I mean, these people are all connected, studying the same topic.
So this cluster of scientists, engineers, military figures, all tied to pretty important research. What are you thinking tonight?
So, Laura, this is crazy. I mean, it sounds like it was ripped off the front pages of a supermarket tabloid. And look, we always have to be careful in investigations. Correlation does not necessarily equate to causality, but from July of 2023 until February of 2026, 10 of these folks, and these are, Laura, these are 10-pound brains. These are people that literally split atoms in their spare time. They work for government contracting programs. They're in the military. And for 10 of them to meet their demise or to disappear, look, Occam's razor is always in effect when you're doing investigations. It's usually the simplest solution. I don't believe in aliens coming down and snatching them up. I don't believe that they're quarantined at Area 51. However, what do foreign agents do when they're here in this country? They set about to conduct sabotage, espionage, and acts of terror. This is something that you can tell when the FBI says no comment. Read between the lines there. That tells me that there's an investigation ongoing right now.
The FBI always says no comment, and that from a former supervisory special agent. So I don't take no comment from the FBI very seriously because literally the FBI always says no comment. It was the most frustrating thing to be a reporter calling the FBI to get some kind of information, and it was no comment on everything. So I'm not convinced that there's an investigation going on now. I am now that the president said, hey, I was talking about it, and I believe Kash Patel was probably in on that meeting. But he is true that foreign adversaries would be my number one suspect, China being at the top of the list. But this idea that contractors of the United States government working with the deep state, that if any of these scientists were going to upend what those contractors were working on or outpace what they were working on, and they would lose money, that is a real reason to have these people killed. Or they were going to release something that couldn't be released, and you've got the deep state involved. It's all pretty frightening, to say the least. So let me now tell you about my friends over at VRA Insider. Folks, when I tell you they gave me so much peace of mind when we saw all this craziness in the market, the folks at VRA Insider didn't just say hold. They told me exact moments to buy more of what I had so I could continue to dollar cost averaging, I guess is what they call it. Buy more of what I had at a lower price so as it goes back up, not only have I made my money back, I've made money. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Now, they have a 10-bagger system, 10 stocks that they think have the potential to go up 1,000%. You'll get access to these 10 stocks and everything else, by the way, for 2 whole weeks. You get 2 free weeks of the VRA Insider newsletter every morning to your inbox. It's not a day trading system. This is a buy and hold. You might hold for 30 days. You might hold for 3 years, but it's not every day. Now, they do have a stock options program as well, which I've been doing very, very well with. I urge you, try them out for 2 weeks. It's free. Just go sign up at VRAinsider.com. That's VRAinsider.com. I have such respect for the principles of this firm, and I've taken a sizable portion of my portfolio and put it in a separate account and literally just using the VRA system. And I'm up. And I'm up big since I started with them. VRAinsider.com. They averaged 35% a year gains. 2024 was 50%. They're great. VRAinsider.com. That's VRAinsider.com. Okay. So there you heard from them. Now, this is interesting because I go back to this Amy Eskridge. She went to Yale, I believe, super smart. Her dad was a NASA scientist. She finds this. She's one of the founders of this scientific institute that's studying all of these kind of extraterrestrial phenomenon, propulsion, upending physics type studies. I think it was a 3-hour interview. And I pulled some clips because she's a little weird. She is. But I pulled some clips of her because it gives you some insight to how smart she is, but how bizarre she is.
I can learn a new field in 3 months. Name a field. I don't care what it is. Engineering, science, physics, material science, math, language. So, Jeremy, I was homeschooled through.
I can learn a new field in 3 months. You know, we had that FBI guy on Fox just saying that these people have 10-pound brains, that they're like smarter than all of us. A new field in 3 months. People go to school for years in order to learn a field. Do you believe her? I actually do. And I actually believe this is the reason she's dead. Now, she committed suicide. Her father, the scientist that she's got this research institute with, says, no, she committed suicide. To me, that's a little shady too. But she does look like she might have some mental issues here.
This group called Covenant Christian Academy. I was in public school in Huntsville through the 1st grade. We moved out to the country. I was in podunk fucking redneck middle of nowhere county school through the 6th grade. I homeschooled. Jim Ashburn, the inventor of YBCO, was a homeschool dad from my cover group. Sean Bellina, MK Ultra motherfucker. His parents were both OBGYNs for MK Ultra, and he was raised on LSD from the age of 6, was a CCA homeschool dad. Bill Dent, the best friend of Edward Teller, neutron bomb inventor, was a CCA homeschool.
All right, let's go through this. So she's in this homeschool group with all of these people that have ties to the craziest freaking things. Now, this may be her father seeking them out. Her father was known as a wacky scientist that worked for NASA. But MK Ultra, you know what that is, right? That's the 1950s, 1960s CIA program designed to develop mind control techniques and truth serums to influence human behavior using drugs, hypnosis, and torture. The illegal project experimented on unsuspecting Americans at hospitals, universities, and prisons using LSD, electroshock, sensory deprivation to create techniques for interrogation and memory clearing. So she's going to school with the people, the kids of the people behind this. There's more.
Dad. And like when we moved into our farm here in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, there was Mr. and Mrs. Dent next door, an elderly couple, grandma and grandpa. 25 years later, we meet Bill Dent. Those were his parents. His parents lived next door to us in the middle of fucking nowhere. And he's the inventor of the neutron bomb, the best friend of Ed Teller, and he's assigned to my team randomly. I didn't look for him. He joined my team randomly. Why did he live next door to me 25 years ago? That's weird. Like all of these people homeschooled through the same group that I.
That's weird, right? You've got MK Ultra kids in this homeschool group. The kid of the inventor of the neutron bomb in this group. She named some others. All of it is wacko. Again, coincidence that her next door neighbor, the son of someone who invented the neutron bomb, ends up in her anti-gravity group at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory? That's beyond comprehension right there. She's a fascinating woman, this Amy Eskridge, or was. She allegedly, as we said, committed suicide. I'm not sure I buy it, though she does seem to be a little off. But What mad scientist isn't?
Well, so the ultra terrestrials, I'll just tell you,
Wait a second. Ultra terrestrials. So what is she studying here? Now remember, anti-gravity, jet propulsion. I told you that Albert Einstein actually believed that time travel would be possible. I'm not going to even try to explain it because I can't to you. And I'm not saying it is, but I'm not saying it's not. I don't understand the physics of all of this, but she certainly does. So now she's going to explain what ultra terrestrials are. And this is a brilliant woman who was working at some of the most prestigious labs in America, if not the world.
extraterrestrials, I think. Have you heard of the P-52s and the P-47s? Do you know what that is? They're us from the future. They're from here. They are you. They are me. They're from here, from the future. P-47 is present plus 47,000 years. P-52 is present plus 52,000 years.
52,000 years. So the P-47s and P-52s, as opposed to the B-52s, not the plane, but the singing group. But P-52s, I mean, all this sounds pretty freaking wacky. And I told you, she comes off as a little loony-toony. But I don't know. Does this all have something to do with it?
And basically there's a calamity, right? So there's like a apocalypse scenario in the near future. It wipes out most of like everything, man. And there's the ones that go underground and survive, right? And then there's the ones that somehow stay on the surface and miraculously don't die.
I want to be one of them when there's a calamity. I want to be the P-52 that stays on the surface, doesn't die, and then somehow I'm from the future 52,000 years. I don't know. I don't understand it, but it gives you some insight into her mind. And I'm going to play one more clip for you, and then we'll talk about the general who went missing, okay? Because the general is the one that's the eeriest of all.
My Hell 5 talk, it's the Huntsville, Alabama L5 Society. It's like the weirdest, like, retired NASA, like, they have spooky stories that about, like, weird shit, like UFOs and time travel and weird shit, like retired NASA, whatever, Marshall, Redstone, Huntsville.
So let me just say this. The L5 Society, all right, is a group that was created to promote space colony ideas, okay? So they're talking about colonizing space, and all of these former NASA scientists are members of this group, a lot of them, I mean, members of this group, okay? That's the L5 Society. They must have different branches around the country. Hers was in Alabama.
So, that's my favorite party to crash. Like, I love to crash a Hell 5 party. It's awesome because I show up. It's awesome. I show up. I'm the only woman there. And I'm less than 40. And the dudes lose their shit.
So they lose their shit because she's a woman and less than 40. It's supposed to be all these old scientists who are smarter. And I'm sure, can you imagine in nuclear physics and astrophysics how sexist people must be? I mean, I'll bet you that's one of the most sexist industries going. So here's this brilliant young woman who now, though, here seems like she's coming off a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But I was listening to a lot of her in this interview with this guy, and I was fascinated by it.
They lose their shit. I'm a woman. I'm under 40. And they have heard stories about my dad. They're like Richard Eskridge.
Now, remember, She formed this scientific institute to study all this kind of stuff with her dad.
Fuck, he's crazy. I've heard stories about him. Like, I've literally been at networking events and I'm in line just for an event or whatever. And I talk to a random NASA person and he knows the name Eskridge. And he's like, oh, Richard Eskridge, he's a crazy motherfucker. He's like, he gave me a spectrophotometer this one time and I took it home and I opened the box and a snake crawled out of it. That's a real story I heard. That's a real story. And like, I go to these networking events and they're like, Richard Eskridge, you're Richard Eskridge's daughter. He's fucking crazy and he's fucking smart. But so I crash the Hell 5 parties all the time. And man, my contact form on my website is like you said, it filters for the quality people.
All right, now wait for this. And now you tell me what she's talking about, because she short circuits here. All right, she's talking about her contact form, and then she short circuits.
Oops. The problem with that. It's mostly the majority of it is nation state motherfuckers. No one knows about you except the people who want to know. AKA, so Galactic Greg is the founder of the Hell 5. He's been the founder of the Hell.
She changes the subject. She says her contact form on her website, it's mostly nation state people. Well, is that nation states trying to recruit her, trying to buy her off, all that stuff? Nobody knows who you are unless they want to know who you are. And then AKA, and she was about to name the individual or state or country, and then doesn't. Listen again.
State motherfuckers. On my website is like you said, it filters for the quality people. Oops. The problem with that.
There's a short circuit going on here.
It's mostly the majority of it is nation state motherfuckers. No one knows about you except the people who want to know.
No one knows about you except the people who want to know. And then this woman turns up dead of suicide. Now, she seems like she may be a little, as I said, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But I don't know if she seems suicidal. Those closest to her would know. Her father disputed any foul play. Her father says, nope, we agree with the findings of suicide. But only recently has she been lumped in with all of these other scientists. So to me, this is a big deal. Now, there's the general that I wanted to tell you about. Now listen, this is a little rundown of the general's story.
On June 22nd, 2025, top JPL scientist Monica Jacinto
Oh, that's not the general's story. The general went out for a hike. Well, I'll play this. This is Monica Jacinto. So if I go back to our chart, and I apologize here, folks. If I go back to our chart, Monica Jacinto is 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth from the left. This is the one that was working at Jet Propulsion Laboratory at NASA, also working at Wright Air Force Base underneath the general. All right? And that general who went missing on a hike. Now, Monica Reza is the one who allegedly was walking behind her friends and waves at them. They keep walking. Next thing you know, she disappears. She's just gone. So let me continue.
Smiled and waved at her hiking companions, then vanished. 30 feet, no scream, no struggle, just gone. She co-invented Mondaloy, the breakthrough superalloy for next-gen rockets. Her work was overseen by Air Force Major General William Neal McCasland, who also vanished. 10 names, 4 still missing. This is not random.
So William Neal McCasland, that's
it began,
the general.
as so many of these stories often do, with something deceptively simple. A man left his house and has yet to return.
All right, so that is going to be the story of the general that the woman was working for. So she developed some kind of strange alloy used for space stuff, and then poof, gone. She's working underneath the general, who, this is how it plays.
So many of these stories often do, with something deceptively simple. A man left his house and has yet to return.
The search continues for a missing retired Air Force general who disappeared from an Albuquerque neighborhood last week. Now we've learned federal investigators are helping in that search.
William Neal McCasland was last seen near his Foothills area home on Friday near Tramway and Academy. Today, volunteers along with investigators from BCSO and the FBI were canvassing the neighborhood.
We walked right by there Friday morning. Would have been around 11 o'clock and nothing out of the ordinary in the area. So it's strange.
The deeper one looks into the disappearance of Major General William Neal McCasland, the more that simplicity collapses into something layered, interconnected, and deeply unsettling. What first appeared to be a missing persons case begins to unravel into a network of people, programs, and places operating at the very edge of what we're told exists, where advanced aerospace research, national security, and decades of UFO speculation all quietly overlap. At the center of it all sits Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, a place long associated with both groundbreaking science and some of the most persistent and controversial secrets in American history. And as we'll soon see, William Neal McCasland wasn't the only one who vanished and had connections to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. He was just the latest. This is the missing general.
So they lay it out on the missing general. Still missing, by the way. And again, I'm going to remind you, Wright Air Force Base, that's where this all comes from. This is where they study UFOs, Wright-Patterson. He was allegedly involved in some of the craziest stuff that would defy physics. This was taken over the base. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. So in the end, I would love to get to the bottom of this. I hope the FBI is on it. I think it's bigger than the FBI. I think the CIA needs to be involved in this. Let's hope they're not involved in the ways that I think the deep state could be involved. But to recap for you, I believe there's a number of scenarios. Joe Rogan may be right. These people were either going to upend the money aspect of this with new inventions that would make old inventions obsolete and therefore worthless. Kill them if they're going to do that with the millions and millions, if not billions, at stake. Or they were going to expose information that could not be exposed. Kill them. That would be the deep state and military-industrial complex. We can't let that happen. Kill them. Then, of course, there's foreign nation, foreign actors. China leads the top of my list. China says, we'll go kidnap these people, bring them back to a secret lab someplace, force them to work for us as slaves. Sounds far-fetched, not out of the realm of possibility. Or China knew they were getting ahead of us and just had them killed. That's a real possibility as well. So somebody's got to find the answers because this story is definitely connected. I'm going to keep on it. I'm going to keep covered on the Real America's Voice show. We may do some updates more on this podcast as well, but you got to admit it is fascinating, fascinating stuff. I want to turn now, though, to, you know what? Let me play one more clip for you because this was interesting. This is a woman talking about the woman who was missing by waving goodbye to her friends. So one more clip for you that I had before I change topics to go to RFK Jr., Raw Milk, and Rosa DeLauro. But here's one more clip.
I'll start here with Monica Reza. Really, really strange. I spoke to a source who is friendly with her and had said that when she was hiking, she was actually with people from her yoga group, because apparently she was also training to be a yoga instructor. But this yoga studio wasn't your typical yoga studio. They also added Vedic sciences and astrology to their practices. But the weird part here was, you know, we've been told Monica kind of vanished into thin air, which it seems like she did, because she was behind her male companion and he turned around and then she was gone. But this source tells me that at one point they started to run, and that's very unusual because the terrain that they were on, you know, on this hiking trail, it wasn't safe for running, no matter how skilled of a hiker you were.
So does that mean she fell? They would have found her body if she fell. Why were they running? Were they running from something? And now this is a group of yoga scientists, astrologers. The story gets crazier and crazier by the day. I might have this woman on. She apparently did a deep dive. I got to look at this LA Magazine article. I may have her on the Real America's Voice show for sure, because all of that is pretty darn fascinating. Hey, before I get into Rosa DeLauro, the crazy blue, purple-haired woman from Connecticut, congresswoman who just went after RFK Jr., and boy, what a great response he had back to her, which I'll play that here in a second. But I want to tell you about Lost Soldier Oil and Gas. I've mentioned this before. If you have some money sitting aside and you are an accredited investor, I want you to consider Lost Soldier Oil and Gas. They've secured 40,000 acres of an old uranium mine in Wyoming that couldn't be drilled for years. Everyone knew the natural gas was there, and possibly oil, by the way. They've secured this in what they call a federal lease, and that's a big deal that happens. They now have a company called Roth working with them, ultimately to take them public. But more importantly than that, they've got rigs set up. They've already started drilling 2 wells. They've hit natural gas. There are plans for 500 wells on this property, and they are raising money. This is your chance to take part in a project that typically is only reserved for family offices, super high net worth individuals, and institutional investors. The management of Lost Soldier feels it's important to go out and let everyone have a shot at this. Now, he's taken 2 companies public, Ultra Energy and Penteco Energy. If you don't believe me, Google those 2 companies and you'll see this guy has had great success. This is why I like this project. I bet the jockey, not the horse, but in this case, the horse looks pretty darn good too. I can't get into projections, but I can tell you this. If you go to lostsoldier.com, that's lostsoldier.com, click on the Invest Now button. Lots of information on the website. One of the members of the team, his name's Rob, will get back to you. I know him personally. Tell him I said hello, by the way, and that I'm the one who sent you to him. And you're going to be very interested in this project. I am working on moving some money around to put money into it myself. That's how strongly I feel about this. LostSoldier.com. That's LostSoldier.com. All right. Rosa DeLauro goes after RFK Jr. for raw milk. Do any of you like raw milk? I'd love to see in the chat box, comment section. Do you like raw milk? Raw milk sounds absolutely disgusting to me. Not pasteurized, so it could have listeria, whatever the hell, all kinds of problems. Now, I know people like it. And if you like it and you know the risks, I think you should have a right to drink raw milk. I don't say ban it. And I can tell you, who's ever selling raw milk, the moment everybody starts to get sick over it is the moment they go out of business. The free markets will protect people on this. You want to drink raw milk, drink raw milk. Not for me. Rosa DeLauro clearly doesn't agree with me on that.
Don't drink raw milk. And the FDA's website says raw milk, unpasteurized milk, can harbor dangerous germs that can pose serious health risks to you and your family. You have your own personal views about raw milk. They cannot be part of a health protocol. that the use
the raw milk is not regulated by the federal government. Congresswoman Delora.
unpasteurized milk.
Yeah, it's regulated by the states. It's not regulated by us.
You are the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Is there not some moral responsibility or compunction to say, don't drink raw milk? Don't do that. If I were the head of HHS, I would, by God, say, don't take raw milk. It is dangerous to your health. And if you can't say that, well, maybe there's some other conclusions that can be drawn. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
If I was your hairdresser, I would say, don't color it purple because you look like an absolute jackass. But I'm not your hairdresser, and you're not the Health and Human Services Secretary. So don't tell people what to drink and what not to drink. I won't tell you how to color your hair, even though you look like a complete ass clown buffoon. And one of the ugliest women in all of Congress, by the way. She looks like the Wicked Witch of the West. She should be called the Wicked Witch of the Left. She has no posture. I mean, this is literally how the boil in the cauldron. I mean,
don't drink raw milk. And the FDA's website says raw milk, unpasteurized.
Oh, my sweetie, and your little dog, too. She's awful. So this is what he was up against, the whole freaking time. Lots of this stuff.
I want to say something because 2 little girls died tragically.
Now, this is where he's talking about the measles. They're so upset with him for the measles. Here, this is, I believe, who he's responding to.
Have you met with any of the 1.4 million people who have lost their health insurance just this last year from dropping off of Obamacare? Have you sat down and talked to those folks about the fact they won't have their health insurance again?
They're almost all illegal immigrants.
Oh, well, you know what? It sounds like you haven't met with folks like Portia in my district.
We found 1.5 million illegal immigrants illegally collecting Medicaid.
So there is, I'm going to get back to the measles and the vaccine situation here in a second, but of the 1.4 million people who lost their health insurance, most of them are illegal aliens. Should they have health insurance? Should we really be paying for illegal? Why do you think our health insurance is so expensive? Why do you think health care is so expensive? Illegal aliens come in. Most of them don't pay for anything. County hospitals deliver their babies, handle everything for free. They go on their way. They disappear into society, have a kid that's now an American citizen, an anchor baby, and we're paying for all of it. So these Democrats are awful. I want to try to figure out which one. Oh, gosh. This is Grijalva. This is the wife of the congressman who died.
What specific diseases do you believe deserve less medical research?
What diseases do you believe deserves less medical research? Well, he's got an interesting one. I actually think DEI is a disease, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Probably not a disease, but I understand what RFK Jr. is getting at and what he says here.
DEI.
Okay,
we got $1 billion.
Do you have a specific program, a specific disease that deserves less funding?
I would say we're putting $1 billion into DEI, and DEI research has never cured any disease. It's never produced any new drug.
Okay.
No, it hasn't. In fact, I would offer up that DEI has probably slowed down the cures of many, many things. Not sped it up, because you're not hiring the best of the best. You're hiring maybe the best of a certain color, maybe not. DEI is a killer.
We've already shut down 500 hospices in
This is talking about fraud.
Los Angeles, and incidentally, we haven't had one call from Congress or anybody else about complaining, because clearly these were fraudulent. A lot of these places, like you'd say, they'd have, they were just invented addresses. They would obtain patient identification. or they would pay people. They were going and giving people in poor neighborhoods flat screen televisions, $600, and then they would enroll them in the hospice, and we were paying them $6,000.
What a freaking scam. So you see the scam? You go into the hood, you say, hey, we'll give you a big flat screen TV, but you got to sign up for this program. We're going to use your name, and we're going to get paid $6,000. Meanwhile, we give you a $600 TV, and everybody wins except the taxpayer in the United States. Boy, that's an absolute scam. I heard of drug studies like this, where you go around, recruit somebody into your drug study, pay them to take the drug. They don't take the drug. You're getting money from the government, and all the while the taxpayer's losing, and they're not studying anything except how to fill your bank account until you get caught. This was my least favorite one of all because she wants gun violence, which I have told you is actually people violence. It's nothing to do with guns. It has to do with people who have no respect for human life. She wants HHS regulating this because this is what they did with Obama and Biden.
My son Jordan Davis was murdered in a shooting at just 17 years of age.
Hold on. I'm going to...
Simple answer, yes or no. Do you believe that gun violence isn't... My son Jordan Davis was murdered in a shooting at just 17 years of age. Simple answer, yes or no. Do you believe that gun violence is an epidemic or a public health crisis?
I would say it's an epidemic. I think it's a law enforcement issue and not public health.
I find it kind of absurd to hear you say that. I really do.
You think I should be regulating gangs at HHS?
Seriously, should HHS be regulating MS-13 gang members? Do you want HHS doctors going out and trying to arrest thugs and bruisers? I mean, it's ridiculous. Yes, black-on-black crime is an epidemic in America today. It has nothing to do with guns. It has to do with the lack of respect of human life. Young people today have no regard for human life whatsoever. There are no role models in the household. Religion is gone. The Democrats have forced young people to turn their backs on God. You don't have God in your life, so why would you fear what you will face on Judgment Day? I mean, you won't. This is why we have a problem in so many ways. Violence now has become the solution for these kids. It doesn't do with guns. I carry a firearm around everywhere I go. I'm not just randomly shooting people. And even more importantly, I carry a firearm around everywhere, and guess what? It doesn't fly off my hip without me touching it and just start shooting people in a restaurant. It's not a transformer. When I go by my gun safe, I don't hear guns scratching on the inside trying to get out to kill me and my son. They're not alive. People are responsible for this. But you cannot talk common sense into these people. And finally, the measles bite. They're so upset about him limiting vaccines. And it's not that you can't get the vaccine. It's just that he said, we're taking these off the recommendation. We don't think you need all of these vaccines.
I want to say something because 2 little girls died tragically in the Mennonite community in Texas. Mennonites have not vaccinated since 1796. Oh, this has nothing to do with me. I went to the funeral of one of those little girls, and I spent a day with the family of the other. And both of them told me that when they took their children to the hospital, they were treated as pariahs. They were shamed. They were not given proper treatments. Both families believe their daughters, and their own doctors believe their daughters could have been saved if the hospital gave them proper treatment. The fact that they did not have a proper treatment to give them is regulatory practice by this agency. This agency has been so focused on a single intervention that it does not advise doctors about how to treat people who are actually sick. There's a lot of people in this country who, for religious reasons or other reasons, are not going to vaccinate. And I believe that we need to treat them with compassion and understanding and empathy and get them the treatments that they would get anywhere else in the world except for this country.
It is amazing when you think about it, that literally they treated the unvaxxed like a second-class citizen. But how did you feel during COVID? The same way. This is why I'm happy he's HHS secretary. Have we had everything we needed? No. Have we had everything we needed from the FBI? No. Have we had everything we needed from the White House? No, but we have a lot of it. A lot of it. Don't always be so negative, folks. Look at the positive and some of the things. We got a lot of positive things happening with this administration. Embrace it and enjoy it. We need more. I get it. We do. But this is a good thing here. Hey, folks, that's going to do it for us today. I appreciate you listening to Stinchfield, the podcast. Don't forget my website, GrantStinchfield.com. That's GrantStinchfield.com. Stinchfield 1776 on all the social media platforms. Like, subscribe to the podcast. Share it everywhere. Copy the link. Tweet it out. Please. That's how we spread the word. Thanks to everybody. Shelley, our captain in the chat room. All of you watching, especially the regulars, newbies, anybody here, I love you. Stinchfield's Army rolls. We'll see you tonight on the Real America's Voice show.